there's obviously a lot that retail can learn also from financial services. I mean, I'd say the last 2 years, just the 10-year growth in e-commerce that we've seen in retail, which is definitely on the back of financial services. I mean, if you can't do the e-commerce payments transaction, then none of that would have happened.
That's right.
But what else would you say, as you look at your industry, my industries should be looking at and learning?
Well, I still think the retailing experience and the focus of the financial transaction that occurs is still going to evolve, right? So, at the end of the day, retailing at some point in time is going to come down to the exchange of value, right, for that product or service. And so that once you get to that exchange of value point, that's where financial services comes in. So, we've been thinking, horizontally about how we serve the industry, but I think we have to have many more conversations around jointly, if we were going to go pitch retailers together, what would that be? And here's the reason why. The banking industry realizes it's got to work on two dimensions, right? It's got to deepen its direct relationships with its customers, right? Meaning that it's got to compete with all the other neobanks and the neo insurance companies and the new startups that are trying to create cooler experiences and quicker, faster experiences and take their customers away from the bigger established institutions. And so they've got to create more excitement. They've got to create a more multi-channel experience for their customers where they can get products and services and have a 360-degree view and serve them, right, as consumers expect to be served in other industries that they're seeing, right? So banks vertically very much have to have that going on with their direct customer relationships. However, as you know, everything's becoming experiential. So the super apps in Asia are proving that out, right? Where the Alipays now, because they drove so much commerce, or if you think of Amazon, right, they can now offer financial services products to their customers, right? So, but the Alipays and the AWSs and the Googles don't want to be regulated entities, right? They want to offer those services, but they don't want to be regulated. So what does that mean for banks and financial services institutions? They're saying, well, how do I offer those services in those experiences? So that means I have to create an infrastructure so I can extend my lending, mortgage lending, car app, payments, buy now, pay. How can I extend those into other ecosystems to be a part of those experiences, right? So when I'm about to go on a skydiving trip and I'm signing up for that app, right, how does that insurance provider actually give me an update on my insurance, right? Or when you are, as you know, at the point of sale checkout, right, look at all the options you have now at checkout, right? That's because financial institutions are able to extend those services into that experience. And so that horizontal connectivity of extending financial services into other experiences, and retail is going to be a big one, is something that we have to stay ahead of the curve on, right? And so we have to have much more discussion around that because these institutions want to do that. There's a whole bunch of startups in that space. And we should just be, I think there's a lot more opportunity for us to be much more jointly engaged around how to do that. I'm going to throw one out at you. Sorry.
Yeah, do it.
And here's one that's very interesting, right? Because I work with a company that's getting into servicing electric vehicle chargers, right? And so why are retailers thinking about electric vehicle chargers?
Yeah, why are they? Tell me, I don't know the answer.
Because think about it. You need to, it's not like getting just filling up your gas tank and it takes, 15 minutes. You actually need to go sit somewhere for an hour and go. So why not have a bunch of electric vehicle charging stations at IKEA so that people view it as a destination now? So, wow, I'm going to go charge up and then I'm going to go have a retailing experience while my car is charging. So, and guess what? When that happens, there's going to be an exchange of value and a value proposition around how you attract somebody there to actually pay for their charging and pay for their retailing, and what's that going to mean, right? And so anyways, classic example around these experiences that are coming together that we have to kind of be thinking and be ahead of, right? And so why not us have a partnership with those companies that are going after those EV chargers and have a whole proposition where we think about that? So
I love that. Wow. I mean, yeah, you're like, that's how like companies like duty-free shopping came were born was because people are trapped at airports and they don't,
Exactly.
they've got, an hour with nothing to do. And those are some of the most profitable stores, like airport stores. And then, you have those catalogs that sit in front of you and you're in the seat pocket. Those captive audiences, to your point on charging stations, are great retail customers because, retail, to your previous point, can be very transactional, but can also be very experiential. Right. And giving those experiences while you're charging your car, it's a great idea.
So more to come. We should talk about that.
Yeah, we should. Here we are doing it on a webcast with 20,000 of our best friends. Well, Bill, we've covered so much ground from sort of your early jobs. I still have the image of you pulling a lawnmower behind a bicycle in my head. To pouring asphalt all the way to really like amazing leadership at our company and of course these amazing financial institutions. But as we close out, any words of advice or thoughts for for this audience who's tuning in today?
No, I mean we're just exciting. We're just at the cusp really around at least how our industry is going to migrate to the use of cloud and cloud technology. Right. If you think of the amount of technology budget that financial services has, and probably less than 15% of that budget all up is still used to spend on cloud related digital transformation. Majority of that spend is still on-prem. There is a massive TAM environment that we're all chasing together. And I think us chasing it collectively with a joint industry view to actually talk about the intersection between financial services and retailing and obviously energy and power, and you see it in automotive. We just have so much more in front of us to think about and getting ahead of the curve. And with our solution set, and as we figure out our cloud strategy, which is just being incubated right around industry clouds. Just really excited about the opportunity. So I look forward to continuing to work, Shelley, with you and your team on doing that and having that kind of that cross-thinking ideation around it. And like anything, it's just great. There's so much opportunity to go after. Our challenge is how do we prioritize, right? It's a different story when you talk to a lot of other companies where you only have like 2 opportunities to chase. We have many. So our job is to, what are the best priorities to chase? And I look forward to continuing to partner with you on that.
Well, thank you. It's entirely mutual, as I'm sure the people who are watching can feel through the screens. It's such a privilege, and you're right. It's a really interesting balance because, like you in retail, we're in the very early innings of cloud transformation and just sort of the fundamental shift from on-premise to cloud, and then unlocking, personalized experiences and much more responsive supply chain. And so the trade-offs around sort of how do I go deeper within my industry while also keeping an open mind around the cross-industry perspectives, it's a great problem and challenge to have, but it is a crisis of prioritization. So I can't really imagine a better person to go through those trade-offs with than you, Bill. And I just really want to thank you for joining me today. I hope you'll continue to say yes to these opportunities. I'm sure we'll get a lot of questions from the viewers out there. And for all of you who tuned in today, I just want to say thanks for joining. We always love seeing all of your questions. And anytime you want to see more or hear more about anything, we always love to see that too. So Bill, huge thank you for joining today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely. Hey!